to what I thought the penalty was when I jokingly said it'll be downgraded to 2+10 for checking from behind. I said that as a joke, and then when it came out, I was like, no, they must have missed the 0 or something off of it, But yeah, it's madness that, as you said, it's not just one guy in his bedroom coming up with this. It had to go through all these separate channels, and a video had to be made, and nobody thought, why are we doing this? Nobody can take this seriously, and it just goes to show how unfit for purpose DOPS in its current iterance is. It just needs a complete overhaul, and I know we've been slagging them off quite a lot. I think it was last week's incidents. They gave proper explanations. They tried changing it a wee bit. They'd given actual explanations for everything rather than just the things that were given bans on their website. So they did improve a wee bit after whoever it was came out.
They've got these new guys in now.
Are they doing it?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's a linesman from the NHL. I can't remember these. I should have had that for looked up for when we were doing this programme, but everybody's been talking about him anyway, and it seems to be, they've given they've not just said, that's a check to the head, here's the IHF rule for check to the head, now there you go. They've actually explained why they've made the decisions and left no possibility for MD really to argue with them. And hopefully they keep going down that route.
Yeah, because that was a lot better. Because there's a lot of fans newer fans who maybe don't know the full rules or don't need a bit of bit more clarification about what's going on in terms of the rules, and that's going to help them a lot. But rather than this happened, here's the rule book, see you later kind of thing, So 2 thumbs up for that anyway, and the actual correct decision being made in the original incident as well.
I think we also need to remember. Sorry, Ross. I think we also need to remember that DOPS was like this when it was first introduced. You had proper explanatory videos, and the quality was pretty good. And although some decisions didn't meet with overall approval, because that's not going to happen with the fan base out there. But overall, the quality of explanation was reasonably high. But it fell away. And then you had things like suspensions getting reduced and not being explained why they were reduced. And seemingly nobody was particularly bothered about it. I know I was, and I was quite vocal about it at the time. And this comes back to the same point. If you let stuff like that go, this is what you end up with. This is but this is why when standards like that drop, you've got to identify it and you've got to do something about it. What's happened here, unfortunately, is that it's been an absolute complete go global shambles for then action to be taken. And I don't think anybody needs to be accused of being wise with hindsight to say that something like this was going to happen sooner or later. Such was the poor quality of some of the decisions and the poor quality of the output that was going out there. Putting out a video, Stephen was saying, putting out a video and just reading the rules is no explanation whatsoever. So it's a shame it's come to this. It's taken this absolute complete mess for changes to be made. The important thing now is that with changes now made, however they end up doing it on a longer term, it needs to stick. And it needs to, and if that means spending a bit of money, because that's really what it's all about at the end of the day, then so be it. You can't compromise this. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about the 4-man system as well. It's what we keep saying. They need
to just put their foot down and say, listen, it's 4 men. If you don't want to pay for it, then just leave. Leave the league, because that's the rules now. But it's good, it's going to take, is Tony Smith's position now untenable because of the amount of F-ups that have been in his watch? And this is included in that. You're looking at, if you're somebody in North America, you're looking at that and you're saying, so let me get this right. The guy that's lying on the ice on his back, possibly concussed, got 3 game suspension, and the guy that's on top of him after battering him in the back of your head, has got 1 game. What league is this we're talking about? This is ridiculous. It's just brought our reputation as a league down, and players must be watching that thinking, I ain't going playing there. Not a chance. I'm saying now, it's not the first time the league's been in the news for all the wrong reasons, and we all know we would rather have a neutral chairman in the league. Is this now made Tony? I don't dispute what Tony Smith's doing behind the scenes and stuff. I don't know what he does. I don't know. By all accounts, he works really hard. I have no issues with all that. But he should, whoever the chairman of the league should be, should be neutral. Now, we all know the league doesn't have a lot of money, but, they've got to find a way around it. They can find money for other things. Maybe they just need to stop, but the teams just maybe say, right, we need to take a hit on, the player budget and get this done properly, and just cut their cloth. But it's just, it can't go. I just think Tony Smith's day's done. I think he should be going, and somebody else should be taking his place. That's just me personally.
I would agree with you on the proviso that it's not some other owner in the league.
Well, because that would just be a step sideways.
Yeah, so if we got rid of Tony Smith and Neil Black took over, there would be absolutely no change whatsoever. Maybe they're all working really hard and getting a good TV deal so they can get the money to get an independent guy to run the place. Maybe there's a wee conspiracy theory for you.
I don't know. Graham, do you want to touch on that one?
Yeah, why not? Well, it's kind of what you said. Actually, the personalities don't matter so much. I mean, Tony Smith's on a no-win situation.
Yes, that's fair.
Being the owner of the Steelers.
Yeah.
Being the owner of the Steelers, because people are always going to claim, obviously bias. But at the end of the day, it's like you say, I've been saying it for a long time, we've been saying it for a long time, this league needs independent governance because, can you imagine, I assume that we're going after some kind of big money sponsor at the moment. What's the big money sponsor going to be thinking of all of this? Or potential sponsor going to be thinking of all this mess? It's not the way to attract investment into the sport. And, I mean, at the moment, I don't know what the up-to-date situation is, but we still don't know about a commercial director and all the usual stuff that I bang on about. They all circle around the one thing, and that is lack of investment. We need to, the league needs to spend money on stuff to be able to operate properly. And you can't tell me that nobody's making any money out of this, because I'm absolutely positive that that's not the case at all. I think there is money being made, perhaps not by every club and certainly not to the same level between the clubs, but there's money being made and there must be money set aside to invest, whether it's on the officiating or anything else. So, as I said before, it's just, unfortunately, now good things are happening and the league should be rightfully applauded for taking quick action, and the remedial action appears to be correct.
But
so everybody's happy with that.
The remedial action, was that not driven by the absolute furore from just about every single fan, bar a few Sheffield fans, really? That was driven by the fans.
Yeah. So, and that's the point. That's the point I was about to make. That it's unfortunate when you require that level of reaction to be able to then instigate change, because it comes down to the fact that the fans aren't being listened to. The fans aren't being listened to, and it's difficult having a fan base because everybody's got their own opinions, everybody's got their own parochial ideas and favouring their teams and everything else. But there's stuff that is fairly obvious. And, again, it's something basic. It's something as basic as me asking the question a couple of years ago, we've had suspensions reduced. There's been no explanation why is that. And I get told, well, it's not your team, why are you bothered? And basically the whole thing just gets ignored and everybody forgets and we move on. As I keep saying, that's how you then end up with this situation. Because things slide. Focus is elsewhere. It's not a priority. I mean, we're talking here about a league that now looks as if player safety is not a priority, or wasn't up until a couple of weeks ago. And as you rightly said, that then makes it very tough to attract players of the quality that we want. It just sends out the wrong message overall. It gets you bad publicity in North America and elsewhere throughout the whole hockey world. That's not what this should be about. But part of it is that the league need to listen to the fans to some extent or other. I'm not suggesting a supporters trust or anything else like that, although we have touched on that before. But there has to be some element of fan input into this, even if it's just to notify or make aware to the people who control the sport. Look, you know what? In the interest of the sport, we as fans think that maybe you should be looking at this. Then they can take it on board or they can ignore it. But at the moment, there's nothing like that. Yes, there's individual elements of input, and some clubs are having Q&As. We've got our own Q&A coming up next week. But, the point is, there's nothing on a league-wide basis for fans to be able to have some input, and that is intrinsically part of what's wrong here.
Cardiff have got their fan forum, which is a dirty word up in Glasgow as far as I'm led to believe. 2 dirty words. But the problem I think they've got is they don't. Again, some people in this league don't realise if you treat the fans well, they'll spend more money. They will. If you're upfront and honest with the fans rather than try to pull the wool over their eyes to get more money out of them, be upfront and honest. I mean, there used to be the Premier Club when our club first started, and I used to pay into that every month. I didn't get anything out of it. I wasn't a member of anything. I was a member of the Premier Club, but they had a few draws. But it was because I wanted the club to succeed. I felt part of it, and I felt as if I was helping, and I was paying money every month into that. And it just sort of dwindled away, and this sort of professionalism took over, and the club get more distant for their fans. And I said it the last time, I think it's a wrong road we've went down. We're told now the official supporters club is the fan forum, but then if you got a problem with the club, you can access it through there. Well, if you're not a member, if you're not a member of that, then you can't get access to that. And then the official supporters club, that isn't really there. I mean, I'm not going down the line of arguing for a fan forum again. We've done it to death, but that's definitely not what the official supporters club is set up for. It's not a fan forum. Bottom line, it's not a proper fan forum, as the one that Todd Kelman has instigated in Cardiff, which I'm led to believe is doing really well. So, but we're not going down that route. The bottom line for me is, at the end of the day, how many people, and I've said it, this is the third time I'll say it, how many people's hands in the Elite League did that pass through and not one person said, hold on a minute here? Is it too much of a tight wee inner circle that don't want to disagree with each other and say, do you know something, Simon, I think you've got this wrong? We're going to be a laughingstock when this comes out. Is the people just not really there wanting to disagree with each other? This tight wee inner circle everybody keeps talking about and joking about, but that's what it's looking like it's become, Stephen, isn't it?
I don't think there's a strong case for arguing that there isn't an inner circle at this point. Yeah. I agree with you. People shouldn't be afraid to speak up against what they don't think about what they think is wrong with the league, for fear of getting ostracised by the inner circle or annoying an owner or whatever. It just seems that way that some people are, because if they weren't, then somebody would have said this video or this suspension's a load of crap. What's the actual ban that's going to be handed out? And the worst part about this is I can't see it ending anytime soon. We're sitting talking about what's wrong, and I'm just sitting thinking, we'll be doing this podcast in 5 years saying the exact same thing, and it's depressing.
I hope not. We're going to go through some of the questions, topics, social media stuff that we've been given over the last few days. John McKinstry, the new D-man seems solid. Can we do anything else to tighten up the defence? Move Burt to forward. He said, actually, I never read his second, but he said, would Burt be more effective as a forward? I kind of been saying that jokingly, but to me, Cameron and Burt probably moved to D for a reason. Maybe he'd lost a step, I don't know. He certainly is comfortable on the puck, and he likes to play the puck. He can certainly make a good stretch pass every now and then. It's Cameron. We've been a bit hard. Sometimes feel as if we've been a bit hard on Cameron, but Stephen, it's just he never seemed to go through a game without him turning it over and creating a breakaway.
Yeah, that's the problem. I'm sure he's a great guy, and he's wanting to make an impression and with his new team and everything, but right now it's the wrong impression. It's turnovers, and I don't know. I suppose if he's a forward, the turnovers don't matter as much, because at least in theory, you've got at least two guys behind you who can mop it up. So I don't know. As you said, there's probably a reason he moved to defence right as his pro career was starting, I think. So there must have been a reason for that. You don't just on a whim decide you can't be bothered being a forward anymore and go and be a defenseman. I don't think we've seen the best of. I think it could be like a sort of bad comparison here, but like a Jackman kind of type who could quarterback the power play. Yeah. Kind of, I think he'd be effective as that, as long as he doesn't.
But that's a lot of times but that's when he's turning over the puck when he's doing that.
True. I don't know. I'm assuming that Tripp obviously coached in the league against him last year and saw him and saw something that obviously we've not seen so far. So maybe I'm assuming the best is still to come from Cameron, but hopefully soon.
Graham, is it just as simple as trying to talk Nathan McKeever out of retirement?